Hello everyone and welcome to F1 Challenge Career Part 18. Today we are going to Brazil, to the Interlagos circuit, an awesome circuit. Last season it produced an absolutely awful race for us because we were rear-ended by a Sauber before we even reached the first turn and lost our rear wing and had to retire. We hope that doesn't happen today, but I'll now hand you over to the commentator.
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Hakkinen is leading the Drivers' Championship and going for back-to-back victories here at Interlagos. Schumacher second. Barrichello third. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. Ferrari share the lead of the Constructors' Championship with McLaren. Jordan are second. VAR are third. Located within the southern suburbs of Sao Paulo, the bumpy Interlagos circuit consists of two very distant outer section combines two very long straights with fast sweeping turns, whilst the technical infield contains some very slow corners that demand absolute precision and leave no room for driver error.
Right, so we jump into first practice here around Brazil. Of course, this car has a lot more downforce, but I put too much power on at Junção too early, and that led to me spinning. But I felt the car was doing pretty well, especially on the heavy fuel. I'd set a 16.4, and as you see, it's beaten by Michael Schumacher doing a 1:14.6, but of course that is on low fuel. And later on in the session, I went on a low fuel run, and I managed to do a 14.6. So that was my fastest practice time, so that's pretty good, only 0.3 off Michael Schumacher. So it looks like we've got some pace around here for once as we go into qualifying. And our first flying lap in qualifying, we've set a 14.7, so there's still some time to find, as you saw from the practice lap time. And on the next lap time I do a 14.5, which turns out, I think, to be my fastest time, although it may not be, because I think I've now got another clip coming up. Yes, so it's definitely not my fastest time. Barrichello somehow goes to a 14.4, and we go across the line to set a 14.591, which is our best time of the session. And now, I'm going to hand you over to the grid, where I hope they can get us in the top 5.
Hello there. Welcome to Brazil for round 2 of the 2000 FIA Formula 1 World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Schumacher first. Hakkinen was consistently faster than his teammate. He starts second. Barrichello third. Ralf Schumacher fourth. Villeneuve just managed to get the edge over his championship rival, the McLaren driver. Button sixth. The McLaren driver was decidedly average in qualifying and will have to work extra hard to make the most of his midfield position. He starts seventh. Fisichella eighth. Alesi ninth. Verstappen 10th. Pedro de la Rosa 11th. Herbert 12th. Frentzen 13th. Eddie Irvine 14th. Trulli 15th. Nick Heidfeld 16th. Marc Genet 17th. Sarlo 18th. Alexander Wurz 19th. Ricardo Zonta 20th. Mazzacane 21st. Diniz 22nd.
Right, so unfortunately it did not get us in the top 5. We are starting 7th, and it looks like Jacques Villeneuve's had an amazing qualifying as we have the lights here at Brazil. And we are Jensen Button's got a better start than us, so we've got the whole grid passing us. We're down to 11th beside the arrows of Pedro La Rosa. We're going to have to avoid Jos Verstappen there, I think, because he was right in the way and he broke really early. So we're now down into 11th place. We are ahead of Jos Verstappen though. We're going to slipstream Nick Heidfeld. Can we get him down into Junção? I think we have the straight line speed over the Prost. We're slipstreaming. He's leaving a gap on the outside. We're going to the outside. He moved across us in the braking zone. And that's a disaster because we've now lost our front wing and we're going to be demoted into last place. So yet again at Brazil, we've had a crash on the first lap. Nick Heidfeld just moved across on us completely there. But now we're going up the hill, and it looks like there's a Minardi going slowly, and the whole grid is going slowly. I think they're stuck behind Nick Heidfeld and maybe a couple other cars which have made contact, so we're just going to pass them. I don't see any reason to not be aggressive here and just pass them all. The BAR there, Ricardo Zonta, go round the Jordan, and past the Jaguar as well, think of Johnny Herbert, and we're going to carry on. And you can see Nick Heidfeld with no rear wing. He completely cut us up into that corner. I can't believe that. You won't believe how angry I was at the time. But we'll now look at a replay of the start. And my start was okay. I think the Jordan of Heinz-Harald Frentzen didn't actually start off the grid. But you see that I had to avoid the arrows on the grass. Kept it under control though, so I was managed to rejoin without any contact. And I stayed ahead of the arrows there, I think, of Jos Verstappen. Where we then slipstreamed Nick Heidfeld all the way down the first straight. And we were trying to have a look at him into Junção when he moved to the inside, so we thought we'd go to the outside, but he just cut across us right at the last second in the braking zone, and of course that led to contact. Now we're going to look from his rear wing, and you'll see this, he just moves right, and he goes, and I ended up going straight into him. I could have gone on the grass, but I thought there'd still be a gap there, but Nick Heidfeld decided to close it down. We're going to look from the arrows behind us, and you'll see that he does move across on us, and that's a complete disaster on the first lap here at Interlagos. So we're going to come into the pit, and I didn't know where the pit limiter line was. I completely forgot, and then I think I double pressed the pit limiter, so I think we're actually going to get a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane just to rub salt in the wound. But we're going to have our pit stop now. It's going to be an 11-second pit stop, I would have thought. But it looks like there's a Jaguar in the pits as well ahead of us. But out of the pits now. And we've actually got the pit speed limiter activated. Here we go, Johnny Herbert's left just behind us. But we're going to exit the pit lane. It usually tells us now whether we've got a stop-go penalty, and we do. So that's going to send us to the back, behind Johnny Herbert by an absolute mile. I'm not sure if there's anyone behind Johnny Herbert, but we're now coming in for our stop-go penalty here. Of course, we've got full fuel on board. We put in 140 litres at the beginning of the race. I think that's a better way of doing it. I think putting the maximum amount of fuel load in first, then having your pit stop later on, and then you could have a little sprint to the end. I think that's the best way of doing it. Nick Heidfeld, of course, has retired, and Pedro Diniz has passed us. He was the last person, and we're down into 20th place, and we're going to be some 22 seconds or so probably behind Diniz by the time we get out of the pit lane. Now, I'm not going to retire from this race. I know I did last season, because I feel that I may as well, like I did in Australia, get some mileage on the car. But we had a blue flag on lap 4, and I think those are the leaders. Yeah, that's Michael Schumacher, and we've now got Mika Hakkinen, my teammate, who laps me for the second race in succession. Not really down to my pace wise because of accidents, and the speeding in the pit lane was entirely my fault, I think. So we've got Rubens Barrichello ahead of us, and we did keep up with them for a bit until we went off on lap 5. And then we lost touch of them, obviously, and we spun a little bit. And Ralf Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve. Jacques Villeneuve having the best Grand Prix I've ever seen him have on this game. He's, I think, up in 4th place at the moment. He had a really good qualifying as well. At one point, it looked like he'd get pole. But we're going up the hill now. And he's gone wide. He's gone in the grass. I don't know where he's going. He's driving to another circuit, I think. But this is the on-board. And you'll see that I think his brakes failed or something, because he just went straight off and up the hill, hit the wall, and now it's his race over. So that's 1 place gained for us at least. But I actually hung behind Ralf Schumacher for a load of laps. I had the same pace as him, so if I was on the lead lap, I probably would have been around 4th place. So that's a bit disappointing, because it looked very unlikely to get points this race. We're going to look at Mazepin into the last corner, or Mazepin, or however you want to say it, where we went and passed him easily. And we're now going to look at a replay of the move. Pretty easy move. I thought I might get him out of the way so I can focus on getting Pedro Diniz in the Sauber, or maybe even Johnny Herbert in the Jaguar, as he's the car ahead of us, not Pedro Diniz. As heading towards the end of the lap, are we going to get him into the last corner like we did with Mazzacane? No, we're not. We're going to hang back and maybe slipstream him down and across the start line. We're slipstreaming him here, and this car has reasonable gearing for this Grand Prix. I really need to work on my gearing. I think that'll help my pace a lot, and of course with overtaking. And you can see here that I only reached 7th gear when I was overtaking. I never reached it in qualifying. We go down the inside, Johnny Herbert, and we've gone wide though. But can he come back at us? No. But we've then had a bit of wheel spin, We've struggled to collect it, and Johnny Herbert's gone straight back past us, so we're going to have to pass him into Juncal. We're going to slipstream him. We're going to pull to the inside, not the outside, because Nick Heidfeld will probably ram us off. But we're going down the inside, and we've made it. And we've now got Pedro Diniz just a couple of seconds up the road, which we catch on lap 15. And we're going to have a look at him maybe into the middle sector of the lap. Maybe down the inside here. Yes, we are going down the inside. We're going side by side. Pedro Diniz. Can we have him into the left-hander? No, he's still there on the inside. And he's going to get a better drive on the inside. And he's going to try and cut us off, but we're not going to let him do that. And we're going to go straight down the inside into this right-hander. And we have taken Pedro Diniz for 15th place. And we're now on lap 19 when I do a mistake. I just put too much power on. And I go across the grass. I'm trying to keep it out of the wall. But that little bit of tire just catches my wing, and that's my wing gone. My suspension is completely fine, which is very lucky. But that's going to mean an extra pit stop for us. Luckily, it's not too far away from our scheduled pit stop. So we'll just put in as much fuel as we can until the end. But yeah, you can see that's Rubens Barrichello there, because this race, the AI didn't do the strategy it did in Australia. Basically, all of the AI did the same strategy in Australia. Here, Barrichello went for something like a 7-lap stint at the beginning. He only had 7 laps of fuel. It was massively faster than both Michael Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen, because they had the normal fuel loads, well, what you would think was normal. So it's going to be interesting to see how the AI deals with fuel loads later in the season, because it certainly isn't uniform across all the AI. We're exiting the pits now in 17th place, 20 seconds behind Pedro Diniz. So we've got a bit of catching up to do if we're going to finish anywhere near where we finished in Australia. In Australia, I think we finished 11th or 10th. But Pedro Diniz pits, and we pass him there. And we're up into 15th place. And we're looking at Ricardo Zonta, and I think the arrows are Pedro de la Rosa. Ricardo Zonta not doing as well as his teammate did earlier in the Grand Prix. We're going to go round the outside of Ricardo Zonta. It's a beautiful move right round the outside on the power. And that was a really good move, actually, if I had to say. I wasn't expecting to be able to pull that off. I thought Ricardo Zonta would cut me off in the exit, but we're now going to have a look at Pedro de la Rosa. We're going to go around the outside, try and get a better acceleration out the last corner. And we're going to slipstream him, and we're going to go down the inside. No, he's on the inside, so we're going to go around the outside. We're running side by side with the Arrows driver here along the main straight. We're still side by side. Who's going to win into the first corner? I think it's going to be us, because we're pretty good on the brakes, and we have. And that's us up into 13th place with Verstappen 6 seconds down the road, who we catch on lap 26. We're going to try round the outside again. There's no way through. He yet again tries to cut us off, but we're on the grass a little bit. We're going to go down the inside, and we're up into 11th place with Mika Salo some 10 seconds down the road. He's our next target, who we catch on lap 31. We're going to slipstream him into Juncal. It should be a pretty easy move when we get there, and we're going to move ourselves up into 10th place. So we've equalled our Australia result. We're still nowhere near the points, but we're improving, so that's at least something. But further on, Jenson Button has been crashed into by Eddie Irvine, so that might actually promote us a couple of places. Both of them were in the top 10, so that's incredibly good news for us. Jenson Button was running really well, actually, but we're now behind Alexander Wirtz here on the last lap, because we've been lapped, and he is in 7th and we're in 8th. So if something happens ahead to another lapped car, we might have some points. So we're going round the outside of Alexander Wirtz. Can we get him? No, he cuts us off. Can we get him into the last corner? Running out of opportunities here to pass. But we're going to try into the last corner, are we? No, we're not. We're going to try and shape ourselves up for a run to the line. We're going to slipstream the Benetton of Alexander Wirtz. We're going to go down the inside. He leaves us space. We're going to run side by side to the line. We're running out of fuel, but that doesn't matter because we've got 1 lap less to do. We're going to cross the line to beat Alexander Wirtz and get 7th place in this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, no points again, but I felt that was actually a pretty good race when it came to it. There were some good battles in there. Unfortunately, this season isn't going to plan so far. We are planning on winning the World Championship, but we are falling behind our teammate and the Ferraris at a rapid rate, and we really need to get our season on track in San Marino, as I will now hand you over to the results.
At the end of an amazing Brazilian Grand Prix, here are the final results. Schumacher first, Häkkinen second, Rubens Barrichello third, Schumacher fourth, Giancarlo Fisichella fifth, Trulli sixth, the McLaren driver seventh.
So you can see that up to 5th place was lapped, so there was a chance of us getting 5th place, a very small chance at that, but we could have done something there, so that's interesting. And you could see that Jenson Button DNF'd on lap 33, so There was
With the
a chance
results
at points.
confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, the commentator had nothing to say on the drivers' standings because it's equal with Michael Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen again. We've still got no points. That's something we really need to work on because we're probably disappointing Ron Dennis at the moment. So we need to improve our season.
Ferrari maintain their lead of the Constructors' Championship. McLaren are second, whilst third place is held by Jordan.
Yep, so McLaren are pretty much a one-man team at the moment with Ferrari getting it away. I need to improve my season. Next race is at Imola. Very fond memories at Imola. Of course, I got my first podium in this game. But I will see you there, and after that is the British Grand Prix. So, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.